Do you want to support your local pet shop? Stay tuned to the end of the video. I'll show you how. Welcome back, SandersAquatics. So today we're going to do a video about the top 10 different things if you're starting a brand new aquarium. You've never been in a hobby, you need to know what to do, how to do what you're doing. I'll give you some tips here. We'll give you 10 different tricks here. This isn't everything. There's more out there. We're going to leave it to our subscribers to go through and put some more in the comments, because pay attention to these folks. They're smart. They've been doing this a long time too. But this started, I got asked the other day from a gentleman that works with me. He said, man, I'm ready to set up a fish tank. My daughter's been wanting one. Well, where do I start? What do I do? So I started asking him questions. And a lot of these things, these questions are the kinds of questions I was asking him, and he didn't know the answer to any of them. So we're going to start this down. The top number one thing is you got to know what kind of fish you want. If you want a guppy or a beta or an Oscar or African cichlids, these fish all require different needs, different wants, different tank setups, different water parameters. Now, all of this, but you have to have an idea of what you want. So if you don't even know what kind of fish you want, you just want fish, man, I want pretty fish. Okay, what do you consider pretty? Everybody's, my thought of pretty versus the next person's thought of pretty, it's different. So what is it you want? What kind of fish do you want? Go to the pet store. Go wander around. Don't go to the big chain pet stores. Go to these local mom and pops. Ask them the same questions. They're gonna help you. They're good folks. The next part of this, and it kind of ties into figuring out what kind of fish you want, you need to know what size tank you can actually get. Where you want to set it up in your house? How much room do you have? Rule of thumb on keeping fish tanks is the bigger the tank, the better. The water parameters don't adjust. So the most you can get and the bigger you can get, the better off you're going to be for most fish. There are some fish that really probably ought to be in smaller containers just because they don't do well. But where are you going to put the tank? You got 3 foot of space, you got 4 foot of space. It's going to stick out. You got to start thinking about these things. You're going to put it on top of a dresser. How much weight can that dresser support? Are you going to get a stand with it? Are you going to be able to make it stable and level? And all of these things are things that you're going to have to go through and look at. And at that same time, so step number 3, when you're looking at fish and when you're talking about the fish, you need to understand the fish that are sold in a pet store versus the fish that you're going to have 3 years down the line. Like, I don't have a good fish behind me, but some fish that you go there and you get at a pet store, they're going to be 2 or 3 inches at the pet store. You're going to get them. They're going to be all so cute and adorable. And then they get to be 12 inches long. And you got a 20-gallon tank. 12 inches of a 20-gallon tank is that much. They can't swim around. They can't move. And they're miserable. So pay attention to that kind of stuff too. You got to be able to prepare for the future. Don't say, oh man, I'm just going to get a bigger tank when they grow out. Most people don't. They end up abandoning them back to the pet stores and losing them, and you lost your buddy that you've had for years. But as you're doing this, the next step into this, another thing for you to know, we're going to call this step whatever I'm on right now, is to understand the new tank cycle process. When you're putting new fish into a tank, you have to understand that the water parameters need to adjust, and there's got to be beneficial bacteria, and there's a whole life cycle that takes change in the first 2 to 4 months of having this. And as you're introducing fish into it, there are multiple different ways some people like to do in fish setups. Some people like to do no fish setups. It doesn't make a difference which way you do it. I personally, every tank I set up is an in fish setup. I take some hardier species and I get them in there and cycle the tanks that way is what I generally end up doing. But there are fishless cycles to go through and get your parameters where they need to be, but you have to understand bioload and all these kinds of things. Do a lot of reading, do a lot of understanding. The next step and tip that I can give you, do some research on live plants. I strongly recommend to have live plants in a tank if you can have live plants in a tank. They are a natural filtration that happens in a fish tank. They're great for it. I have live plants in almost every single tank I have, and it's on purpose because they help to go through and keep the ecosystem and keep the balance in that tank. But that opens up a whole new can of worms as you're trying to figure out what fish you want. You're new to this. Now you got to figure out what kind of plants you want. Do you want cheap plants that are going to grow really easy? Probably the best place to start. There's some cheaper ones out there that grow pretty easy and they're going to do a good job. There's a lot more detail that goes into it, what certain plants need to as far as lighting and things along those lines. Do a little research into that. Ask the folks at the pet store. They're going to be good at this. In that same breath, though, your next step, something else you're going to have to go through and look at is what kind of decorations are you going to get? You want a natural setup? Cool. You want to go through and you want to do a big Star Wars layout there and have everybody doing all this? Cool. But you have to understand, and this goes back to the fish that you want, that each fish is going to require something different. Are they going to need somewhere to hide? Do they need taller plants in there? Do they like rocks? Do they like sand substrate? Do they like regular substrate? What's the best setup for these guys? It takes a lot of research to get into this. But the decorations that you're going to put in the tank, those are going to be important. The next thing you got to look into is your equipment. Each tank is going to go through, and your equipment comes down to the decisions you've hopefully already made, is what fish I want and what plants I want to put in there. What kind of setup am I after? Your decoration or your equipment's going to be important into that, because most fish are going to require a heater. Most fish are going to create so much bioload, but you have to have a filter in there to get a lot of that out of there. What kind of filter are you going to use? They got sponge filters. They got canister filters. There's all kinds of stuff out there. So you got to figure out what you can afford, what you can do. The next thing that you're going to want to go through and look at is your water parameters that you have. So certain fish, and this all goes into research, and it's one big ball of reading and understanding and knowing what you got to know. So your water parameters have to do with pH, and there's a whole lot that goes into it. But you need to read into this. You need to understand it. As a matter of fact, as I'm sitting here talking about this, I'm probably going to have to run a video on one on maybe the new tank setup and cycle and everything. I haven't done one of those. I probably should have. There's another one I probably should run on water parameters on how to read and understand pH and ammonia and nitrates and all that good stuff. It's important to understand and read. And the last part of this, you got to be able to do maintenance on this tank, on how you set it up, and everything that you've done right here is going to make your maintenance simple if you've done it right. Your plants are right, your lights are right, and your filtration's right, and everything is there. Maintenance is pretty easy. You can probably get away with once a month. Some folks are going to say do it every week, and some are going to say I don't ever do water changes. I don't ever do this. How are you going to do it? Do you have access to it? Are you going to use 5-gallon buckets? Are you going to use a Python? Or what's going to be your way to do it? But once you sit down and you start reading this 10 little list of tips and tricks that I just gave out, once you understand all of those and you're there, it's pretty easy from there, and it's pretty awesome. Keeping fish is, it it eats up a little bit of the insanity in the world. You can be at work and deal with this crazy customer and come home and you got your little rainbows flipping and flopping at you, happy to see you're ready to eat, or your Oscar's coming up to you and you're petting him, or you're throwing a toy in there for him to play with, or your Plecos had babies. Man, it's exciting. You know, things like that. It melts that butt head of a customer away and helps take it all out. Or life's done got on your nerves and you just come watch that tank. And these fish don't care about any of that. They're just swimming and enjoying life. But for those of you that have multiple tanks like myself and you've set them up, let's give some tips and tricks out there. Put it in the comments. Let these folks go through and see what you got out there. You guys got a lot of smart moves, a lot of smart advice as well. Put it in the comments here. Let these folks go through and read it. But if you're setting one up, don't let all this discourage you. There's a lot of understanding that needs to go into this, and a lot of reading that you're doing with a live animal. You got to treat it like that. Treat them like you care. It's not just a fish. It's a live animal. And you'll understand that if you get into it and you start paying attention to it. But let's get on to some fun for the month here. We're still doing our gift certificate giveaway. That's right. You want a gift certificate? We are going to give $100 bill, not $100 bill, but we're going to go through and buy a gift certificate for $100 to your local pet shop. What you got to do to go through and get entered on this, you have to comment on my video. You have to say, I support local shops. You can get one entry per video for the entire course of the month of July. That includes shorts. Me and my wife were having a conversation the other day, and we post a lot of shorts, or have been starting to post a whole lot of shorts. So we've been getting some comments on there, and we didn't specify one way or another. If you're commenting on the shorts, just as well, it gets you another entry. But at the end of the month, we're going to go through and we're going to draw one of our subscribers. You must be subscribed to the channel and you must comment on the video. And we are going to make contact with whoever you tell us is your local pet shop, and we're going to get you a gift card to there, assuming they take gift cards. So check with those folks first. And we'll either mail it to you or bring it to you if you're so close. But you need all the rules. We did a video a couple of videos ago on our giveaway for the month of July. Go back and watch that. Gives you all the details, all the rules that you need. But let's get out there. Let's help go through and support this. Let's get these folks a little bit of help. All the mom and pop shops are down in the world. It's $100, but you know what? It's $100 they didn't have. Let's help them. So, as always, we support you guys. Oh, cool. One more thing. I got one last thing. We got another video from another subscriber that we're probably going to run on our next video. Pretty cool. You got to check this thing out. Guy's got his whole fish room that he shows off in here. So we'll get that out there in the world for you guys to see. It's got some cool fish. But as always, we appreciate you guys. Thanks again for watching Sanders Aquatics. Please like and subscribe.